you can serve early children from 6 weeks to 3 years. Okay. And then for Head Start, they serve 3 to 5 year olds. So a lot of people in this county are income eligible for that program, and Jennifer does a needs assessment every year that tells you if you need more earlies or more traditionals or where those need to be in what counties. So we got into the Master's Choice building. I don't remember the exact date, but it was probably late summer whenever we got in there. We have to do a lot of renovation. They had it set up, obviously, as a green business, a lot of offices, but we need classrooms. And classrooms, you have to do a certain amount of square footage per child that you have in that facility. So the floor plan that you have in there is the renovation. We did not purchase the facility. That would have been way too expensive for our pockets, but we are going to renovate it. And Head Start is going to give us some money for renovation, not all of the cost. But if you look at the floor plan, it's going to tell you eventually what this building is going to look like. We're probably going to have to do it in phases. I think we're going to get maybe 3 classrooms up and going right by spring. So this building at one time was church. So it's set up to where there's a big auditorium in the middle and kind of a lot of space, and then there's some offices around the outside. So we're going to keep some of the offices that are upstairs, but on the bottom floor, we're looking at building some of that in and making classrooms. So I'm probably going to let Jennifer come up and tell you what exactly we're going to have in this facility whenever it's finished, and then we will, take whatever questions that you guys have.
So hopefully, whenever we do get the facility completely done, we will have approximately 60 Head Start age children, so those will be 3 to 5 year olds. And then for the other 2 classrooms, it'll be our early Head Start, and as Rhonda said, 6 weeks to 3 years old, and there'll be 16 children in those 2 areas. So I know Union County is really hurting for child care services right now, I think, because before we closed, the daycare that was upstairs of our facility also closed. So really, I think Anna Heights is the only licensed child care facility that's operating currently in Union County. So, there might be some home daycares and things like that. So really, I know Union County is really hurting to have these services in the area. So it's an excellent building, will be excellent for us, but to meet all the licensing requirements, because we are licensed by DCFS, we have to meet certain fire marshal codes, and then because we are a federally funded program, we have over 1,000 Head Start performance standards that we have to meet. So, with that, it takes a little bit to get everything licensed and approved and everything. So, we're looking at just looking for sources of some extra funding to help us fund this project.
Do they have any questions of Jennifer?
What are there any, I know there are specific requirements for utilization of this as far as the general public?
To be enrolled in Head Start, you have to meet some income guidelines. And so we do provide services for the more lower income families that's in the county.
So everybody can use it?
Yes. Yes.
This is the design you're wanting to eventually get to.
Yes.
I think everything looks great. The only question I have is with the restroom facilities.
Well, we're planning on, if you look at the design, there are restrooms currently there. There's a men's and a women's. So we're going to have to modify them, to meet ADA requirements and stuff right now. But the plan eventually is in that large meeting room. The corner of that will have additional restrooms added as well.
Right. I think the wave of the future is unisex restrooms. Do away with the male and female, and just have unisex, and each unit has its own door. You can lock it, and anybody can go in.
We probably will not do that just because of the age of the children. We don't want them to be able to lock themselves in and us not be able to get to them. So we probably will still have separate male and female restrooms.
We've hired an architect that we're working with that's taking care of all of the ADA requirements, the fire marshal, the plumbing code, all that kind of thing that we have to go through. So we're still in the process of modifying these plans. These are not set in stone. This is, as of this date, what we're looking at doing. Now, we've got another project going in Polk County, and that one is set in stone. So we've kind of got two facilities going at one time. But these children that are going in this facility are your high-risk kids. So the teachers are really focused on making sure that they learn, but it's also a family environment. A lot of times they notice behaviors and things in children, and they will refer them on for mental health services, for physical services, things like that they need. So it really gives them a boost whenever they get into kindergarten. And we've even heard a lot of kindergartens say you can tell which kids are Head Start kids because they're already ready to go. They know the process. So Jen and I really believe in this program. It's a program that truly changes the life of a child. And we are more than willing to invest the money in the community. One thing that we would ask the board if they would consider investing some money in this project also. And that would be up to whatever you think, you could do, but that is an ask of ours just so that we can help offset some of these costs, because it is an expensive project.
And right now, we have about 70 children that are displaced because we were not able to open for this school year. We opened an additional classroom in the Jonesboro School District. We had one there, and we had about 20 kids there. The space was large enough because the school didn't have any extra space, but our room was large enough that we could get a license for 31 kids. So we have 31 kids at Jonesboro right now. We ended up having to go to a different county to open another classroom to be able to accommodate the numbers that we get federally funded for. And our plan was to bus children from Union County to Alexander County, so the Egyptian School District had a little bit of space. But then a lot of families didn't want to bus their children, that far away. Our Cobden classroom, we have one in the Cobden School District, and we have 20 children there. So right now, what we're doing for Union County families, we do also have one in Dongola. I forgot about that. We have a classroom in Dongola School District as well. And our school district did not have any available space for us to be able to use, because we did approach them with that.
So when you're done with this, is it limited only to Union County kids, or will you be bringing kids in from other counties?
As it will be mainly just Union County kids, but our grant allows us to serve any child in our 7 counties. So if somebody worked in Union County, but they lived in Johnson County, then they could come to this facility, but they would be working in Union County.
What, and at this point, I'm assuming you don't have any actual cost yet on this?
No, we do not. I know that we're going to invest probably about $250,000 in it. That's not going to cover the cost, obviously, of doing all this construction. So whenever we finally get to a floor plan, we will know what the architect projects that to be, which we just decided a few days ago it was going to go way over our budget. So we're going to put in a minimum amount of classrooms in the beginning just to get our displaced children in. And then the next phase will be expanding it so that we can do more. But our budget won't allow that.
So is that 250,000, is that grant money, is that
Yes,
state money?
it's Head Start money.
It's federal money.
Anybody got any other questions? Well, I appreciate, board appreciates you coming and sharing this with us. We
It's
will
exciting stuff. We're excited.
Look at this and discuss it and so forth. And, I would really like to have a total cost project.
Okay.
As soon as we
Sure,
get it.
no problem.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and welcome Bobby to our board. So he'll be the one from now on coming to board meetings and reporting back on what we're doing.
Right. And he'll keep us informed.
Absolutely. Yep, well, I made a presentation at Polk about 3 weeks ago, and I told them probably midwinter and spring, I would come make a presentation, and I'll do the same thing here, just so that you can keep up on the progress.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It is right in Boston from Carbondale.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Next discussion on Hadley's Haven with Nora Ashby. Did she contact you?
She never confirmed. This is the date she asked for, but then I tried to confirm with her and she didn't respond.
Selection of bid for circuit clerk scanning. My understanding, we've got more bids, so we're not ready to.
Correct. We got, I don't even know exactly how many we got. It was in excess of 10. So we're going to, and they're pretty thick bids. So we're going to have to take some time and go through each one of them so that we can, summarize what's in them.
All right, we'll table that for the time being, so that's completed. Next item, employment agreement for county administrator. We're basically going to table this till we go into the executive session and back out. Discuss that. Addendum to employment agreement for county administrator. This we can go ahead and do right now. What this amounts to, as you all are aware, we lost the UFLP case as far as an unfair labor practice with the person that was getting paid the stipend to take care of the grant information and do the paperwork and keep it going. Unfortunately, we lost that. That person lost that stipend out of the paycheck, which is not good. What we're recommending, or I'm recommending here, is that we give these duties to the county administrator. Basically, it's a non-union issue then, long and short of it. The stipend is $4,500 a year to do these tasks, which has to be done or we lose these grants. It's just that plain and simple. It was mandated by the state of Illinois. It was not something that we came up with. So that's where we are. So need some input, questions, whatever everybody thinks.
The reality is, if she doesn't do it, we have to contract out with somebody who's considerably more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. And, I mean, that's more of a workload on Angie, but, at this point, I think that's the direction we need to go. Any other questions?
What was the amount of the grants that they were working on,
That's,
It's millions because they actually include our MFT money as grants. So if we don't do the reporting that they're saying, Jeff's not here, but the highway department would lose all their MFT money.
that don't give us too many options.
And then we have a redeploy grant that's about 750,000 on top of that. And then we have several grants upstairs and the emergency grant that are all around 70,000 each, so.
and plus it will entail, assuming probably future grants. and so
Yes.
forth. But, I mean, this is not a daily, full-time job. It varies throughout the year when these are due, these reports and so forth. So, she may work on them 3 days this month, next month none, next month 10 days. I mean, it varies. But again, and I repeat this is not something that we put in place as a board. It was mandated by the state of Illinois to have this position. So,
Also, you have an accounting background also, so that adds some
Oh, yeah.
accountability to the audit experience. I make a motion that we accept.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Okay, next item is employment agreement for Human Resources Director. Again, we're going to table this and go into executive session from this particular contract. Next item is employment agreement for the ambulance director. We can go ahead and do this. That's not a issue, I don't think. Grant, this is due December 1st on the calendar against for us. Grant has expressed that he would like to do a one-year contract now. Unfortunately, I think he's looking at moving on, which I don't like, but that's his business. So normally it's not a one-year contract, but that's what he's asking for. It will begin December 1st, 2021. I don't have a problem with this. I mean, anybody have any questions or concerns about it?
No, but I hate to see that day come for us.
Maybe we can come into another year next year, so. But I will say Grant has done I can't express how much of a tremendous job he has done through the past several years. He runs one of the, as far as I'm concerned, best departments here. Always has. He's right on top of everything. It's gonna be hard to replace when that day comes. I make a motion, we approve the employment agreement for the Director of Union County Ambulance Service as written for a one-year contract. Second.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Okay, last item, approval of fiscal recovery funds for the video incubation for ambulance service. Speaking of that, Grant, you want to say anything more about this? I mean,
I think we discussed it
Yeah.
a meeting or two ago, but it's
Right.
just an advancement in technology that we can use to help keep the paramedics backed up from some of the viral load that we encounter every day now. And the ability to still do invasive airway techniques in the field. So that's what we're just trying to take a step forward and keep staff safe.
And having said that, just a refresher, this is a COVID issue, so it allows us to use our government funds to pay for this. So everybody remembers. I make a motion, we approve the physical recovery funds for use for the video edition for the ambulance service.
Hold on, let me get the amount.
It's 8987. It's from Boundtree.
Did you second it, Dave?
I did.
Okay. Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
We need to go into executive session to discuss employees. Briefly. I need a motion. Make a motion to executive session.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
We'll take a brief 30-second break here. Before we go into executive session.
You can call something really long.